Welcome back to Code Hive, the place where we make it work, make it right, and make it fast. So I just actually want to say that Happy New Year to everyone. I am so excited for this year. I'm sure most of you have so many things that you want to achieve, so many things that you want to do, and I just really want to say Happy New Year, and I hope that this year brings everyone nothing but success and money and all the things that your heart desires. So I just want to say Happy New Year and thank you for, subscribing to my channel and just being there, basically. So that's just what I wanted to say. Okay, so without further ado, in this video, I want to talk about clauses, okay? So basically, what are clauses? So clauses in SQL are pretty much used to manipulate data, basically. So in this case, what I'm saying is that clauses are seen as like a filter. So when you're searching for something and you just want to filter and say, okay, I only want for 2023 or 2022 or 2024. That's kind of like filtering. So in this case, clauses, that's what they do. So instead of seeing all this data, you can actually filter to see specific data that you want. So like it says over there that a SQL statements clause is a part that offers more guidance or details on how data should be processed, manipulated, or queried. Okay, so basically that's what clauses are. So the first one that we'll be looking at is pretty simple, is the where clause. So the where clause I have been talking about in literally all my videos, because it's one of those that is always there. It's always used. It's simple. There's not much to it. So basically, like the first point says, is that records are filtered using the where clause, and its purpose is to extract records only when they meet a predetermined requirement. So the syntax, we always looked at my employees table, right? So we would say select employee name from employees table where the employee name is equals to Dean, for example. That's where we would use the where condition. So that's what the where condition is all about, right? So it extracts records only when they meet the requirements. Okay, so the second one that we'll be looking at is the order by. So the order by is used to sort things whether in ascending order or descending order or even both. Okay, so if you have noticed that in the previous videos, we didn't really use the order by, but if you would normally just say, okay, select the employees table, or select the employee name column from my employees table, right? Just like that, it would just sort everything in ascending order without you specifying. But now, because we want to add more lines to our queries and filters, now we can even say, okay, order by descending order, or you could even just rewrite and say order by ascending order. And the nice thing about this is that you can actually use it in both ways. So you can sort something in descending order while also sorting another column in ascending order. So we will be looking at examples. Okay, so now the next one that we're going to be looking at is the group by. So the group by, right, is mostly used with aggregate functions. So if you still haven't watched my video where I talk about aggregate functions, please do that. So in that video, actually, I did mention that I will be uploading another video where I will go into detail in terms of the aggregate functions and using the group by clause. And this is the video. So I will really be touching on each and every single one of them using this group by clause. So if you see the syntax over there, select your column names, and then from your table, where condition, group by, and then your order by. So we will be looking at that into detail. And then the last one that I have is pretty confusing, but it will make sense once we look at examples. Okay, so basically the having. Okay, so this one works similar with the where clause, but the having is used, right, with the group by clause to filter grouped rows based on specified conditions. Ooh, that's a lot. That is really a lot. So the second point actually says that having clause was added to SQL because the where keyword cannot be used with aggregate functions. So, okay, if we look at the syntax, I will explain it properly. So select, right? So all your columns from your table where, so that's your condition. So select from my employees table where the employee ID is greater than emp 102. Let's say that, for example, that's the condition. So it will only display where my employee ID is greater than 102. We did talk about that before in another video. I don't really remember which video, but there was a video where I actually talked about operators. Yes, if you still don't know what I just said, check out my video where I talk about the different types of operators. Okay, so after your where condition comes your group by that we will also be looking at, and then having, which is a condition. So now I want you guys to look at this properly. So there's two conditions. There's the where condition as well as the having condition. But the difference is that the having condition is specifically used with the group by clause, and it's both used when you're using your aggregates. So remember in the previous video when I said I'll be going into detail, this is where I'll be going into detail. So the where condition is just your normal condition. The group by and the having condition works together when you're using your aggregate functions. It's a lot, okay? It's a lot to take in, but I really will be going into detail and it will make sense. So just please bear with me, okay? And then your order by, right? That we're also going to be looking at. So let us look at an example for each and every single one of them. Okay, so now that we have looked at the theory as well as the different clauses and where to use them, I want us to actually look at them. So the first one that I want to look at is the where. So this one will move pretty quick because we have been looking at this since, I don't know, literally all the videos. We've been talking about the where. So let me say where employee surname is equals to Smith. Okay, so select all from employees where employee surname is equals to Smith, and it will just show all the employees whose surname is Smith. Okay, simple, pretty straightforward, right? Okay, then now the next one that I want us to look at is the order by. Okay, so select all from still my employees table. Okay, let's just add the order by. I don't want to add a where, but yeah, let's just add the order by for the purpose. So order by employee name. Let's say, okay, let's leave it like that. So if I execute this, right, so you can see that it shows all the employee names in ascending order automatically. We didn't indicate over there to say that, okay, show in ascending order, but automatically that's what it did. Okay, so if we just put that to show that, okay, sort in ascending order, it will still look the same. Okay, so that's the difference. If you don't put this ascending order, right, then it will automatically order it in ascending order. But if you want to use descending, you just use the DESC, and now it's sorting the employee names in descending order, right? So in reverse alphabetical. Okay, cool. So that's the order by, right? And then the next one that I want us to look at is the group by. Okay, so for this example, I'll be using my sales table that you can see over there. So the first group by that I want to look at is the count. Okay, so select. So again, if you still haven't watched my video where I talk about aggregates, please do that because this will be helpful. Okay, as let me just call it sales ID. Again, if you still haven't watched my video where I talk about what this is, then please watch my video where I talk about what is it called again? Aliases. That will explain that. Okay. And then so it's coming from my sales table, right? So now I want it where the sales ID is greater than and equals to 1. So basically everything, right? I don't have to have this statement, but I'm just following the syntax that we had based on the PowerPoint that I've shown previously. Okay, so group by category. Okay, and then now the order by. Okay, so order by count. Okay, and then we have sales ID. Oops, descending. Let's say descending. Okay, so if we execute this, okay, so this is what we have. So what did it do? It selected everything, so all the sales IDs, so it counted, right, as sales ID, which you can see over there as sales ID, and it selected the category column from the sales table, which you can see over there. Then you have your where condition, group by category, as you can see over there, it's grouping by the category. So we have 3 categories. We have the electronics category, the accessories category, as well as the clothing category. So now the order by, okay, so order by count, sales ID, descending. So now basically I'm literally explaining the group by and the order by in one, literally using aggregates. Let me do that. Aggregates. Okay. So basically, if you have an aggregate, right, then your order by changes, right? Then you have to indicate that aggregate function over there. So now when you come to group by, right, it groups by the category. So it grouped by the category. So now you can see that there's this category, there's that category, as well as the other category. So the group by is used also by the count functions. The aggregates. So I feel like I just confused myself a bit. So what I'm basically saying is that if you're going to use the aggregate function, so we talked about the aggregate functions, which is your count, your sum, your minimum and maximum, and your average, right? If you're going to use your aggregates, then you have to use your group by clause. And then your order by clause contains your aggregate inside. So that's what happened over there. So it counted all the electronics categories, all the accessories categories, as well as the clothing categories. So if you can see in the table over there, we have 3 clothing, we have 3 accessories, as well as 4 electronics categories. Okay, so let me explain another example. Okay, so this time I want to use average. So let's say we want the average amount, right? So select average amount as average, okay? And then again, we still want the category, okay? From the sales table, right? Still where the sales ID is greater than and equals to 1. Okay, so now again, the group by. So now we're grouping it by the category, right? And we're ordering by the AVG amount. So by the average amount ascending. So what did I say? I said that if you're going to use an aggregate, then by your order by statement, you still include your average. So if we execute this, let's see what happens. So what it did is it took all the clothing categories, totaled it up, and divided by, I think, 3, because there's 3 clothing categories, and then it gave an output. Same with accessories. It took all the accessory amounts, right? Added it up, divided by 3. Electronics, same thing, divided by 4. So that's the average. Okay, so if we look at the sum now, right? So I'm just going to change that to sum, then change that to sum. So the difference now with the sum is it will total everything. So clothing, it took all the amounts that belong under the clothing category, right? It totaled it up and then displayed over there. Same with accessories, same with electronics. Okay, and now we have the min, right? So the minimum, right? So I'm just going to use the same example. Okay, so if we have the minimum, right? So if you can see on the table over there, we can see that the minimum amount, right, in our accessories category. So if you see all the categories, if you see a category called accessories, right, and you see the amounts for that accessories category, then it displayed the minimum. So if you can see over there in the table, the minimum in accessories is 500. Same thing with clothing. The minimum under clothing is 600 because we have 800, we have 600, we have 900. So the minimum is 600. Same thing with electronics. So now that's the difference with the max, the difference with the max, right? Now it will just it will display the maximum amount. So in clothing, the maximum is 900. In accessories, the maximum is 1,200. And electronics, it is 2,000. Okay, so that's the min, max, average, sum, as well as the count. Okay, so the next one that we'll be looking at is the having. Okay, so again, I'm still using the same. So select even. Let me just make things easier for me. Okay, so I'm going to copy this. Okay, so we have that. That's what we had, right? So if we execute this, okay, so this was the result, right? So it counted all the electronics categories, the accessories category, as well as the clothing, and it put the total over there, the count. Okay, so now we need to add a having, right? So like I said earlier, is that the having was created because the where does not work hand in hand with the aggregate. Okay, so what this means is that if you want a condition for your aggregate functions, you use the having. Okay, so right after the group by, you will have your having, right? So let's say having count sales ID greater than 3. Okay, so I just want to show you guys something. Okay, so if you see over there, this is the output that we had before this. Okay, so if we execute this, this is what we had. Okay, so now if I add, if I add the having, okay, so if we add the having statement and we say having count sales ID greater than 3, then it will display the one that has a sales ID greater than 3. Okay, so if we execute that, it will only show electronics, right? If we say less than 4, right, and we execute that, it will show the accessories as well as the clothing. Okay, so what this is saying is that select my count, whatever, everything group by. So now in terms of the having, instead of displaying all the categories and all the count sales ID, I just want to view the categories where the count of the sales ID is less than 4. But if I want to view the categories and the count of sales ID that's greater than 3, then it will just show the electronics to say that, okay, the electronics category is the one that has the greatest count of sales IDs. I hope this makes sense. I feel like the halving is so difficult. It's confusing. Like it's just really confusing. Okay. So now we're going to do the same. So I just want to copy this again to save time. Okay. So now that was the count. Okay. So that was the count. And then the next one that we have now, right? We will be looking at the sum. So if we change that to sum, right? So let's say sum and then sum over there. Okay. So if we execute that part over there, we can see that we have clothing, which has the sum of 2,300, accessories 2,700, electronics 6,400. So now it's the sum of the category. So under the clothing, it took all the amounts in the clothing category and it totaled them up. Okay. So now I want to, create a condition for that, right? Instead of seeing everything, let's say I just want to see, right, having count amount. Okay, so let's say I only want to see the category that has an amount greater than 900, for example. So I want to see the category that has an amount greater than 900. So if we're looking here, before we execute this part, I just want us to look over there, right? So it will display everything. Okay, so let's say if I say greater than 2,300, okay, and we execute that, then it will only show the accessories as well as the electronics. Same thing if I say less than 2,300, I don't think there's any. If I say less than, let me just say 6,000, I think it will display all of them. Oh, yay. Okay, so if it's less than 6,000, then display that. So basically what this is doing, again, you are totaling up the amounts per category, and you are saying that, okay, I just want to view the total sum of those amounts added up that's greater or less than 6,000. So it's the condition for the aggregate function. This is really confusing, honestly. Like, I'm confused myself, if, I'm being really honest. Okay, so the next one we'll be looking at is the min. Okay, so in terms of the min, okay, so let's actually delete that part over there so that I can show you how it looks without the condition. Okay, so the minimum amount in accessories is 500, in clothing is 600, in electronics is 1,200. So now if we have the condition for the aggregate and we say where the minimum amount is equals to 500, so I just want to see the minimum amount of a category that is equals to 500. Okay, then it will show the accessories only. Okay, then if I change that to 600, then it should be able to show clothing only. Okay, same thing with max. Okay, so if I remove that part just so that I can show you what we have everything. So now if I say that, okay, let me see where the maximum amount is 1,200, which category has a maximum amount of 1,200, and if we execute that, then we should be able to see that. So those are your aggregates, working with your group by, your order by, as well as your where. I know this is really difficult. Okay, not really difficult, but it's just a bit tricky, right? So if you guys still have questions for me, if you want to ask me something or you want to comment on something that I've said or clarity on something, then please leave a comment in the comment section below, and I will be sure to answer your comment. I hope this video really made sense. Like I'm saying, if there's anything that you still don't understand, please just let me know, and I will be more than happy to upload another video where I try to re-explain it in a different way. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please don't forget to hit the like button. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell for more videos like this. Thank you guys so much for watching.